Deacon Phil pointed out to me during the responsorial psalm how the moms around the walls were swaying their babies to the rhythm of the music. It was awesome to see. But just when you think our deacon's paying attention, most of us began in a little town called Soria. Some began in another place called Petrofita. Then some others in a town called Saint-Jean in France. Before we arrived at our destination, which was an ecstatic event in itself, this enormous gathering in the cathedral there, some had walked from 120K to 500K. And wherever we started from anywhere out in that area, we were all stepping into the same path. And as we stepped into the path, we joined with each other and we joined with other people from all over the world who were stepping into the same path, literally. And as different as we all were from each other, we all walked the same road that others had walked before us for over 1,000 years. Some walked free and unencumbered, and some heavy-burdened. Some practically skipped and ran, while many of us set out each day on blistered feet and crippled knees and a couple of bed bugs. Sometimes we walked alone. Sometimes we walked alone together. And sometimes we talked and shared stories and hearts at a depth unusual for strangers. The whole world seemed to be there, walking with us. We were seekers all, though some knew not for what they sought. But something made us take that first step and the hundreds of thousands of steps in between. All of us wanted to finish and to be in this great place of gathering for an incredible experience of communion, unlike any experience of communion I had ever known or even imagined. We were all there for a reason. Some wanted healing, or perhaps to figure something out in their lives, including their futures. Some searched for meaning, and others for faith, even faith in God. Not a few would say they did not know why they were there, but something put something in their hearts, and that this pilgrimage was something they just felt somehow like they had to do. I speak of the pilgrimage 27 of us made last May, at the end of last May, called the Camino de Santiago. And for me at least, it has become defining. I think all of us who made that pilgrimage from here last summer would say it affected us each profoundly in different ways, and in ways we could have never expected. But couldn't I also say those same things about this unique gathering here this morning at 11 o'clock on this particular Sunday morning? Couldn't I also say that we're all here for different reasons this morning? That some are here literally, truly for healing, some to figure something out in their lives, including their futures, some searching for meaning and others for faith, even faith in God, wondering if they believe. Not a few here this morning would probably say they did not know why they chose to get up this morning to come, but that something put something in their heart, and that this was something they just knew they needed to do today. And for many, it's for that communion, that moment of true communion with everything we call holy, everything we call God. That pilgrimage has become a touchstone, a reference point, a clear and visceral metaphor for everything I understand my life to be about, but even more for everything I understand my life in faith to be about. I had grown up hearing about the Second Vatican Council and how it referred to the church as a pilgrim people, a pilgrim people. Now I knew what it meant to be a pilgrim person in my bones. In my bones. Or should I say in my feet and in my knees. What a pilgrimage can cost us. What it means to us. What it demands of us. What it offers us. For I find again and again that this pilgrimage you and I are making, this pilgrimage of being a baptized person alongside of you, with you, affects the very quality of my life, not just in eternity, but here, today, and each day. Baptism is where it all began for us. It is where and when we stepped onto the path, that ancient and same and time-worn path. And now I've come to see my whole life between my baptism as a child and my death as a pilgrimage. A pilgrimage truly within a pilgrimage within a pilgrimage. For example, even while we are here as a pilgrim church this morning, we're also pilgrims in our marriages, as a priest in our single lives. We are pilgrims in our family of origin, trying to figure out what that means as everything changes around that. And in our families of choice called friendship. And of this community, this particular community of the church that is here this morning. We are pilgrims within pilgrims within pilgrims, and all of us have to do that in our work, day in and day out, even our work as students. And furthermore, for the same reason we get baptized, we stepped onto a path, the same path, that ancient and time-worn path that many have walked before us. We have walked that way, and we knew it was something we had to do. We had to do if we are to live a life that does not get too small and that refuses to stagnate. I learned on that path what I'm learning in faith is that I have to be steadfast whether I feel like it or not. I have to get up in the morning and do it all over again whether I feel like it or not. I have to be firm on that path. I have to walk where others have walked before me and where others walk alongside of me. I'm tired of trying to do everything my own way. And for too long in my life, I wanted to do it my way, make it my own way, and do it my way. I've been there now. I've done that. And it's nothing I want to do again. I don't have the time left nor the energy to create my own way, nor do I trust it. I've learned I have to pay attention. I have to pay attention when I put those feet one in front of the other, because it's easy to trip, it's easy to get hurt, it's easy to miss that little tiny arrow that says go this way now, and get lost and lose precious time. Trust me, at the end of a long day of 20 miles of walking on sore feet and sore legs, the last thing you want to do is get lost and walk 2 more miles. And I've learned that I have to keep moving. I have to trust the path. I can trust the path, even with my doubts. I have to keep moving no matter how much it hurts. I have to get up and put one foot in front of the other and love for another day and believe for another day, for just one more day. Because what we learn deepest down inside, I think, is that the transformation is in the walking. The transformation is in the walking. It's putting one step in front of the other. It's walking and resting and getting up and walking again. And that's what it means to be baptized. That's what it means to be alive. Several students shared with me in the evenings and in our conversations as we walked, though most of them were far in front of me most of the time. Several of them shared with me that this old church of ours, they are learning on this trek that this old church of ours is about much more than an hour on a Sunday morning, which is all really most of us ever really experience of this old church of ours. But they learned there was such a richness here they had never seen, that there was more to this than an hour on Sunday morning, more than being church, more than being baptized together. That here I'm walking in the very steps of others who have tried this way before me and found it what they needed, found it unleashing something in their life called freedom. We were walking in the very steps of Francis of Assisi, for example, the very footsteps of Francis, one of my heroes in faith and in life. He walked those same steps. He put his feet one in front of the other 800 years to the day before I put my feet in those same footprints where he did. And so did Ignatius of Loyola. So did John Paul II, and so did many, many others. These ancient, time-worn 11th century chapels where these people stopped to build this little place so people could gather and reroute and recharge and do it all over again the next day, just like we do here on Sunday morning, I hope. This is where we stop on the way to reroute and recharge and do it all over again tomorrow and this next week. The same way begun and worn smooth by so many before me whose wisdom can become my own, so I don't have to invent this all by myself, and I don't have to figure out what love is by hurting people all the time. There are footprints just there before me that I make my own footprints now and leave for those who will follow me. I leave them by the walking. By the walking. This is a powerful, powerful thing we are up to, and we probably barely even pause to think about it. It's so real to me that I want others to know this richness that is here in this living together in a community of the baptized, of people who are seeking together to be disciples of this Jesus of Nazareth. There's so much richness here. It's more than an hour a week, my friends. I want them to know they don't have to do it on their own. They don't have to make the same mistakes that many have paved the way before them, that they can themselves know this rich tradition of life and of love and be part of something bigger than their own lives, knowing full well the hard parts of being in community together. But I want people to have the advantage that it offers too, if they would be willing ever to step onto this path with me, with you. We began last summer in 3 very different starting places for the 27 of us. 3 different towns with different amounts of walking together. We too started, each of us, at very different places of faith, you and I, or no faith. But we each decided to walk at some point to do this, and it's still the same path. It's the same path after 2,000 years, but being a good Jew himself, really 3,000 years. But somewhere along the way, we looked over. We looked over to see who was walking alongside of us. We looked over maybe for support, for somebody to cheer us on, because our bones were tired and weary and it just hurt too much. Maybe we looked over to see if we could encourage them because they were limping. Somewhere along the way, we struck up a conversation about things that matter. And we find ourselves now this morning just a pew away maybe from someone perhaps who was meant to be a part of our pilgrimage for a time or even for the rest of our lives as friend. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where we started. It doesn't matter how long it's taken us to get where we are in faith right now. It only matters that we're walking. It only matters that we're putting one foot in front of the other, even when it hurts really, really bad. It only matters that we're right here, right now, and we're walking together on the very same path. All because one day we started walking. One day, by our own choice or by somebody else's, one day we were baptized. Blessed are you, pilgrim. Blessed are you, pilgrims.